It's good.
It's good. Yeah, we'll go straight into it. We've got the first topic, the RLCS Worlds format. It's changed. So instead of being a single elimination with the top two automatically going through, the top two doesn't change, but now third and fourth place go into, in essence, the upper bracket of a double elim, so they get an extra chance. The winner of that goes through to Worlds. The loser will then have to face the winner of fifth and sixth, which means that it's probably much more fair, and there's a lot more stakes on the line in league play in terms of making sure you get into the third and fourth. And I don't know what you guys think about that format necessarily, but that's the playoffs format that'll get you to Worlds. Then the Worlds format is going to be what we're really discussing here, because I've talked about the playoffs format in depth. The Worlds format is now 4 groups of 3, and the top 2 teams will go into a single elimination bracket on the final day, all played out best of 7s on that final day. And that one's very interesting, a complete change up of the format, and I just want your immediate reaction, Torsos, to what you think of the format.
I hate it. It's just like such a weird number to have in a group. Only 3, and like one team goes out. Like if everyone goes 1-1, which is like probably a very high likelihood of that happening, one team just gets like, you had the same record as the other 2 teams that went through, and you still didn't make playoffs. And it's really game based. How convincing your wins are, and how you lose, like how close it is.
Yeah, that's tough as well, because it's at the start of the competition, right?
Yeah. I really if you have like a really bad first series and you're 0-3, that could just it's over. The whole world is over of like a bad first series.
I know you had a lot of strong words, Fruity, on Twitter. You got some strong words today as well.
I mean, when I saw the format first initially, I was like hyped. They said group stage, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly they give you that small detail that you're only gonna have three teams in one group, and you're thinking, what?
Wait.
Like, I think honestly, I wish they would just take it all back and just redo the format, but it's too late now. I think. I honestly think that we're gonna see a lot of upset fans, because of how the format is gonna be. If there's a 3-way tie, the game differential is gonna be quite sad, because you go to a world championship, and because of game differential and only 2 teams to play, honestly, that it's just gonna be a disappointing couple days early on. I think that people are gonna feel cheated out. Some teams are gonna be like, well, we got to play 2 games, that's it.
Yeah.
But you can argue that last season it was the same, right? But in this format, it's like we got the treatment of how really bad it feels at WSOE, because we had 1 game differential with G2 and we didn't make it to day 2 there. Here you only have 3 teams in a group, so it's highly likely to happen. Instead of WSOE, we had 5 teams, I believe.
Yeah.
So what I wish we could have seen is a 6 group stage, and it's like they could have taken more days if they needed more time for it. But again, that's more cost and etc. So I won't go into that. But I think it's just a shame, because I'd love the format to be more finessed, like final put. But at the end, we just get something I think that needs a lot of work still. And it's in the World Championship where everyone wants to be. So I don't know. That's my opinion. I think it has potential. Again, I think what Psyonix do is they test it out, and then we'll see down the road that it can actually be really good. But we don't know how Epic Games is going to control the World Championship. So there's a lot of questions to be raised, and it's going to be interesting to see.
There's certainly, that step where it looks like Psyonix have gone the route of saying, okay, how do we fit a format into 3 days? Rather than maybe even how do we have a big, robust format. And they like their exciting formats, it seems to. They love their single elims, their double elims. And I guess that's kind of what this is. But the group stage is taking up the majority, 2 out of 3 of the days. And I have some problems with that in the fact that, like, as an audience member, I don't want to watch a group stage match, a round robin match on the big arena stage. You know, where's the, like, huge stakes on that? You go into, you're like, it's the first match, and if they win this, they may or may not go through to the playoffs.
Yeah.
First, like, if a team goes 0-3 as well, they're like pretty much out already, right? So they'll come back on. It's like, oh, they have to 3-0 sweep, and then something else has to go on in like the other game that's played for them to get through. It's like, oh, what even is that? As a fan, it's like keeping up with 4 different groups and all the tiebreakers of each group. It's like, what is even going on? And like, as a fan, like, what? Because like the average Rocket League fan isn't the smartest.
What?
True.
But there's 3 groups of 4 groups of 3, but like each one needing tiebreakers and all that. Like no one's gonna be able to keep up. They'll be like, they see a group that's like 1-1-1-1-1-1, and they're like, this team lost, but they went 1-1, and they're like, they're not gonna know what happened. It's like unfair for that team. I just think it's kind of stupid, really. I feel like there's no excitement for that. I think as a player, I'm like definitely not in favor of that, and like especially like coming from a region where there's like, if you like, we're probably not one of the favorites of the tournament, you know. So if we have that like first bad game, it's like, oh, unlucky. It's just over.
Yeah.
Especially because we'll be like, I'm assuming Sonics would give like South America and OC teams like the low seed in each of the groups. So we'll probably have 2 like hard teams in the group with us. So like it could just be kind of hard for those us regions as well. And even harder if we like go 1-1. There's still a chance we don't make it because we're not gonna dominate a team if we win. Probably it'd be like a 3-2. So then that's like, and then if we get like say like fatalities in the team, we get 0-3. Like our win differential was just awful, even though we went 1-1. And like we could be better than the team we beat. So and then we still don't make it. So yeah, that's my extended thoughts on that.
Well, it's also incredibly harsh for Sam in their first season, because you could have a situation where like you win a series and come last. And like imagine if OCE was like that, you know, win a series and you just come last. How demoralizing is that? That's going to be harsh, and I can't see it going either way. And I was bloody excited for OC versus Sam. I really wanted to see the OC Sam matchup. They're in the lower bracket fighting for last place, and it just won't happen.
Yeah, it's like double Elim would be so much more exciting, especially for that like whole storyline of like not being last, like all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough format as well, and I actually suggested a format myself. I want to get your suggested formats too. I wanted 2 pools of 6 into you know, a a double elim with 8 teams, but the top 4 or the top 2 of each pool go into the upper bracket, and then the next 2 the lower bracket, and obviously the last 2 in those pools would be eliminated, and that would be played out similar sort of scenario, but with in terms of the 2 pools of 6, you have to have it done out of the arena, you know, backstage with 2 streams, that kind of thing. And I think there is a lot of cost saving you can do there.
For sure. And that's the thing, that's the route a lot of the TOs are going for as well nowadays in other games. You see them doing longer events. You see some are taking the whole opposite way, but I still think that for Rocket League, we need to have longer than 3 days, especially when this is the most hyped event we have.
Yeah.
Every second or twice every year. So we need to have that hype factor. We need to have more than just a 3-day event, which we have in DreamHack and WOC and all those other organizers. That you have those 3 days. That's a good weekend. But Worlds needs to be an entire week of Rocket League. some of the games may not even be open for the public. But I still think we need to hit at that sweet spot where everyone gets on stage, everyone plays for something that matters, and you have that long week of Rocket League. And I still think we haven't received it because Psyonix can do so much more than just having a long week. They can do content with all the players, you know, like there's so much more you can add to it than just the games, which I think is a shame. So I'm interested to see what Epic Games is going to bring from their experiences with Fortnite and etc.
You even see in CS like the majors, same thing as like CS is 2 times a year, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the major goes for like a month in CS. And it's like they do like storylines for each of the teams, like so much content for it. Like the format is so like reliable, sturdy. Like this, if you like, you have to deserve it, or like you don't deserve it. It's like get where you are in like the format as well. And even like the like other events, like say like the Dream Hacks or whatever, they're like still a week in CS. Like it's just so much like larger with like really good formats.
Yeah.
I think that could definitely be looked into, I guess, for Rocket League format wise.
Well, obviously,
I think also with any like matches that are played, so like in a round robin, especially in like a world championship that like don't matter. So like if it was like a groups of like 4 and someone like 0-2, they like can't make it, right? If it like hypothetically, if this was at world champs, then like that game is just like a dud. It's like who cares what happens in that? There's like none of that.
I think that's nice in the groups of 3 in that there can't really be dud series, which gets it. But realistically, it's just a double elim with less matches overall. Like without that chance for people to verse another loser, right? So if you do poorly at the start, you don't get the chance to make a comeback because you're just done, unfortunately. You talk about CSGO, I think it's a much bigger game. Maybe Epic can bring it to that, but the point I'd say, like, with both of you, Fruity said, you know, a week long, you said a month long for CSGO. Like, like 5 days feels like really good, but I'd only want 2 days in arena. I already think that 3 days in the arena with the audience, like, it's so they're so tired by Sunday that they lose a lot of that spark. A lot of people don't show up on the Friday either because of work.
Yeah,
so
no
Saturday,
show ups on Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
So it's disappointing. Wait, Fruity, do you have like your preferred format? What would you like realistically?
The one you, like, I don't think there's any perfect or like preferred one. I want what's good for the fans. I want what's good for the teams. And right now we don't have that in the same regard we had last year, because I think last year everyone was giving the same chance, because the game differential didn't matter last year, but now it does. And game differential is something that is really, really rough for some teams.
Yeah,
let's say
like
you have
PSG.
a 3-0 sweep once. Yeah, exactly, like PSG. But like, it's just going like to WSOE how it felt. Like we 3-0'd a team, and then we're like, well, you're not through. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the hell? We have to watch another game before we actually know if we're in or not. And those players don't have anything to play for. So you know what I mean? Like, it's just feels like a really bad situation that I don't want anyone else to experience, because that format shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't be at this level at World Championship.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Torsos, did you have a format as well that you had in mind?
I think it's like a hard amount of teams, well, like a good format that doesn't involve groups. I think yours was very good, or like better than what it is there. But I think double elim would still be alright for this. It's only 4 extra games, I think.
But that already hit like
that's
the
still
max.
it's quite a lot still.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. The format is quite hard. But I think like another thing is that OC and Sam can't actually like. There's a very low chance that we get to play each other at Worlds, which I think is kind of sad.
Both have to go through and make it to the playoffs at the right spot as well. And you could have like, I think the major thing is like, with single elim as well, you could have a team coming through, you know, they do okay in groups, they easily make it, but they come in the second spot or something, like a Vitality, right? And then all of a sudden, they're up against the best team from EU in first round, and the grand final happens immediately. In essence, the two best teams against each other. You lower the potential quality of the grand final. You make it harsher on teams that are like, oh, well, like Torsos versus Dignitas in round 2 of RLCS before. One of the OC teams, Jam Gaming Season 1 versus Northern Gaming Round 1, who won that season as well. And it's like, imagine having that and losing, and you didn't have a second chance to come back.
Yeah.
Your road is over because you lost to the world champs.
Yeah, it's very rough, especially that group format coming into single elim, because it's so like, I don't know, it's very unreliable. It's like 2 series to get like seeded into a single elim bracket for like the world champs. It's like, what if a Vitality does come like in 2nd seed versus like, say like an NRG or something? It's like, that's just like a grand final right there. Or like first round. It's so silly.
Yeah. Well, that's been very good. Bunch of from the negative, I guess, to the positive. In terms of what's happening in Sarnix, we're just going to skip over the epic transition, but that's kind of got its own ups and downs of itself. But FACEIT have now entered the Rocket League scene, and for me, the interesting part is that they have in-game integration with Rocket League. And Fruity, what are your opinions on FACEIT coming in?
Oh, I have a whole lot of opinions. All right, so let's start off with the good. I think that's fantastic that we're getting something that TOs can really use easily for tournaments. The FACEIT interaction, as I know or I understand, is that it makes it incredibly easy to have tournaments. I think that's great for the scene. I think it's great to have automation. And that's really about it for the good stuff. But to the bad stuff, I just I don't understand that they don't put out a roadmap where they think where we're gonna end up. You know what I mean? Like this is still in a beta where it's gonna take several, if not 6 months, to finalize. In my opinion, we don't know if it's gonna help with the 6-mans. How is it gonna affect 6-mans? You know, is it a direct competition to that? Is it actually going to be worth playing? Are you going to get experience? Because I think if it's treated as a normal ranked game, I think a lot of more players are going to play it, where you get your XP and your rocket pass, etc. Is it going to be a custom map? I think it is. So you lose out on that. A lot of players don't like that. But especially the FPL circuit system, I'm interesting to see. But the thing is that FACEIT has no way to tell between a low GC and a high GC. So already there, when you go into the high stats, you have like people, the level system, they get level 10. And you get this high margins of skill level that's just gonna like completely ruin the experience for everyone involved in GC. Because you never know if one GC player is gonna be a low one, or you're gonna have like 2 professionals on the other team because of the matchmaking can't tell the difference. So for that matter, I'm kind of skeptical. I'm glad that something is happening. There's a new thing in Rocket League, but there's still a long way and a lot of questions and a lot of things to be answered. So I'm excited, but not really that much. But I want to see where it happens in 6 months, where it is now.
Toss?
Yeah, I don't like. I think it's the same thing. I don't like with the roadmap. I don't even like know what it like is doing. I just know there's like a check FACEIT in-game thing, and there's like some FACEIT tournaments. But like, what is it gonna do? What is it? Because I know OC's not gonna like use the FACEIT tournaments like at all, really. I'm sure, because like we don't have that many teams that play in tournaments anyway, and especially with like prizes like not actual money, right?
It's FACEIT
Right.
points,
FACEIT currency.
which you can get prizes from once you've got enough of it. Yeah.
And then of course there's still also the way that FACEIT makes their money is that you probably have to buy some premium to get more points or to get a discount to use your points or something. I'm not a fan of that. I want it to be. I don't like that at all. Sadly, I think it's a shame.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's not gonna be. No one's gonna be buying premium in OC at least. Cause like it's just not gonna happen. Like for Six fans, like how is that even gonna work in game? Like as you said with the matchmaking, but like you like have no control of like the server, if it's like a name server or not. Because I know that actually matters for some reason. Don't know why. Like Six fans is so like rank S is like there are good players in rank S. Like you know, like each team you know who you're playing with or whatever. It's like in FACEIT you just don't know. It's just gonna be basically a rank game unless there's like something actually done about it.
Hmm.
Homie has a good point as well. Is that OCE Australians don't have access to many of the relevant prizes because they're NA and EU only, and they don't ship outside of
they?
NA and EU.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam are on FACEIT as well, right? So it's like
uh,
maybe they don't get prizes either, and it's such a shame because it's like always these initiatives are always the thing that could like explode those regions. It could be really good, and I still think it is going to be really good for OCE, like because a lot of people are on FACEIT for CS:GO or whatever. A lot of people know about FACEIT. ESL in Australia was really good. That would still get 30 to 40 teams when the region was lowering in terms of the teams at the top level, because those are just like such big names, and that all these random people who play Rocket League find out about the tournament scene through those services. But to me, it feels a little bit like this is what in-game tournaments should have been at the start, and instead of developing that further, they went with FACEIT. And I think that's overall like a good decision, but why not just do that straight away and be 18 months ahead of where you currently are? Because I think FACEIT is really good. I think the fact that you can queue into a tournament, matchmake into a tournament, is something that we've always wanted. I think having some form of prize is solid as well. And eventually, and this is the, I think, thing that you guys might not be remembering, is that a lot of tournaments already run through CSGO in FACEIT. People who do FPL and FPLC, that kind of stuff. Sort of like the professional level, where you have to actually qualify into above where you are at that level 10 in FACEIT just for being a grand champ, is what's going to be the good thing for the competitive scene. I already know in Australia people are looking to run like FPL type events. I'm sure 100% that in EU and NA it would be similar. It creates this path for people, like a brand new path for people to go from nobody up to a professional player that currently exists kind of in Six Mans, but it's not as robustly done, it's not as nicely done, and it's not like widely spread out like FACEIT is, and it's not as professionally done as FACEIT is, because I mean they're an actual business with big money behind them.
I didn't actually realize that FACEIT worked like the level, like above level 10 was a thing. So like, yeah, that would be really cool if that happened. And I think that would really, because I think I remember someone saying that you could solo queue into tournaments, like get matched with other other solo players. I think that's really like helpful to like maybe like you just even like form a team with just people you find, because obviously it's very hard to find a team and like reach out to other people. So I think that could be very useful, definitely for like improving, because I feel like Six Fans would be a very toxic environment, because it's not really, and it like the incentive is to just like get better or practice. But if there's like actually like prizes and like real motivation to like get people to like focus and like take it seriously, then I think it would be a really good thing as well.
Yeah, we need real incentive for the players, especially for the pros as well, if they wanna make this a success. And that's what Psyonix or Epic Games and FACEIT has to work together and find out what is that incentive that the professionals want to actually make it a success, because the professionals have a huge influence over how good this is going to be, in my opinion. That's why FPL is such a huge success, is because every single professional in Counter-Strike is doing it. You know what I mean? Like, people, they dream of becoming FPL because that's where the professionals are. And if we don't get that in Rocket League, I just don't see where the success is gonna come from because people are grinding and putting hours and hours in something that nobody really cares about in the end because there's no incentive for the professionals to play it. Where those bubble players and etc. wants to make an impact. You know, they want to push up to a professional scene. Um, so it's a real struggle that we haven't seen yet because it's so early. Like we have to
Yeah.
remember this is a beta to basically test is this stuff working that we've been working on for the last couple months maybe. Does
Maybe
it
a
work?
year, you
How,
know, probably a long
yeah,
time. You
like
know.
who knows? That's what I'm saying. With Psionics, they like to do stuff really slow and get it done well. Well, half the time. Uh, um, so we have to see, and we have to like. It's gonna take a while before we see the end product. And I think that's something we generally. It's kind of a shame because we would love to see go faster, but who knows?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pessimism in you two as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think that like one thing is that maybe well, there's a very high chance that FACEIT are going to turn this into something much bigger. You know, there's no reason that they would literally work with Sonics on developing it inside the game, which is obviously the huge deal. Work with the API, do all this development time, and not turn it into something much, much, much bigger. With FPL, FPLC, I can't see it not happening. I think that's going to be great. I think there's all these other tournament organizers that are kind of come in and use FACEIT as well. I can't see it being anything other than a massive positive, despite the things that came in. And I think the reason as well that there's a potential negativity around this or pessimism is because it came out without any announcement. So no one really had a chance to ramp up into this. So it just immediately come out, and I'm already seeing a couple of organizers like sprawling trying to run to be the first guys to get this up and running. So like they might even be able to beat FACEIT to the punch of doing that professional level stuff, but I can guarantee you that there's no way that that's not going to happen, and that'll be where you see the chance of people to rise up, similarly to how Fruity you did in Six Mans, where you rose to rank S and made a name for yourself that way. I think FACEIT is going to do that and be better, because when you're in rank S, you don't get prizes, but if you're in FPL, you all of a sudden earn money. As a team, you can earn chances to get into tournaments, into majors, into like dream hacks potentially for playing in FACEIT. I don't think it'll be a dream hack, obviously. It'll be maybe there'll be a FACEIT major event that happens that you get to qualify through FPL, through an FPL challenger. Maybe you get into this relegation promotion match that gets you into FPLC. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I guarantee it's going to be there and it's going to be fantastic for the scene.
Oh yeah, the potential is massive. That's what. But I the skeptical in me is like, yeah, it could be massive in 6 to 12 months, where we want to see us players. We're quite impatient. We want to see it now. But the potential is there, just like the Epic Games acquisition. So it's gonna be an exciting year. The early 2020 is gonna really be an interesting time to see where the game is going, what state are we in now. So I'm excited for the future. I think Rocket League has a bright future. I think,
Yeah.
especially for the esports scene, this is a massive step. FACEIT, Epic Games, there's funding and resources being poured into the scene all the time. So I think this is the early beginnings of maybe a push into tier 1 esport. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
I think that's the best thing about the Epic Games acquisition as well, is it's just like like Sonics keep talking about their 10-year plan, their long-term plan, the one they grow gradually. Like Epic acquiring it's like, okay, well, like it's actually going to exist for like a good while. They're not going to buy a big thing and then go, you know what, we're done. They bought a known, proven identity, a known successful esport, because Fortnite, they try to put a lot in that, but it might not even have the legs in the first place as a game, whether they know Rocket League does, and it's pretty much impossible to ruin Rocket League as an esport. So it's just about how well they can grow it with all those resources, and big signs for the future. And I'm interested as well, Tosos. You were excited originally about the FACEIT introduction. So is that just dampened for you based on, what you've got right now?
I think like I am excited to face it. I think it's just that I'm not very optimistic about things with how Sonics has handled things in the past, maybe.
I think there's a bit of disenfranchisation that comes from a lot of Rocket League players, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I definitely am very excited for it, especially because I'm gonna be in America in the coming months, so I can be a part of that. Hopefully, if it's like depending how fast it happens and all that. And I think for sure, like all like Epic Games acquiring like the esports. I think Fortnite's a bit more of like like as seen by their esport, it is not an esport. So I think as a competitor to Valve as well and their esports, I think they're definitely going to try and grow Rocket League as an esport over the long term. So I think it's definitely like a really good time for Rocket League. I think everyone complaining about the Epic Games thing is a bit dumb, especially for an esports fan, because I think it could only be a good thing.
Yeah, for a casual audience, I could see, why
Yeah.
that'd be pessimistic about Epic Games, but for esports, I can't see anything but good coming out of it. That's I think that is a good time to move on to the next topic as well. So FACEIT coming in, and now we're going to talk about NA and EU playoffs. We'll also quickly talk about Sam, but we're certainly I don't think any of us here are even remotely close to being halfway towards even being competent to talk about Sam at the moment. Disagree with me, Fruity?
Oh,
No?
I think I have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about Sam. So move on.
So to really reiterate the new format for NA and EU, top two go through, single elim, they're in the third and fourth, minimum guaranteed. Third and fourth play, the winner of that also goes to Worlds, and the loser faces the winner of fifth and sixth. And also a smaller thing to add as well is there's no third place match anymore, where now it's whoever placed better in league play will get that third seed going into Worlds.
Isn't it head to head? Or is it two plays better than league play?
I thought it was.
It's either one.
Is it head to head? I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was their league play results. I'll look that up. Tell me about the format, what you think of this format, Fruity.
I love it. I think that finally we have league play that matters more than outside top 2 and top 6. So the fact that you get rewarded for third and fourth place is massive. And it's a massive advantage. Like, don't forget, this is you literally, like, we had 3 chances with PSG. We had 3 chances to secure a trip to World Championship. And now, obviously, we didn't win the one against Barca, but we still have 2 more. Like, how often do you get the chance to have so many chances to qualify to an event like World Championship? So the league play that you go through those short 5 weeks matters so much more now than they used to, because you could have been 6th place and you could have an easy 1 best of 7 and you're into World Championship. So I'm a huge fan of it. It took them some seasons to finally to adjust it, but I think the most massive thing here is, and people, it's a tiny detail, is that a change is happening. Beforehand, like, I think Psyonix have been kind of scared to change the format, but now the fact that they're actually changing it means that down the road we can change much more than just the format in regionals. So I think it's a good change, a welcome change, and I think the fans are gonna love it too.
I mean, it's definitely welcome that Sonics actually, like, they changed the playoffs and Worlds format, which they haven't done for, well, just the entirety of RLCS so far, so that is good. I think, like, it can only, like, especially the playoffs bracket's just, like, I think really good, because it actually rewards, like, league, not the non-top 2 of league play, Because like third seed and sixth seed playing one best of 7 was like so like I can just being up. It's like Denial in G2 season 3. Like pretty sure like G2 for sure should be at that LAN instead of like the sixth seed, but they like play badly on the day, so they that one day, so they've just lost it after like the 5 weeks of league play or whatever, where they were the like better team, placed better and all that. So I think that the third, fourth seeds actually getting rewarded with 2 chances is like really good, and like fifth, sixth being punished for not doing like performing as well is like what should happen as well. So I just think it's, yeah, good.
I think as well, I actually suggested that format at the end of Season 4 to Twitch, to JamesBot and Cloudfuel. And I think it would have come in Season 5, but Sonics ended up coming in and you know, taking time to get adjusted and, I don't know, not carrying on. Because I didn't go to Sonics and suggest it either, so, you know, maybe my bad. But I actually remember testing it in OC in Season 5 as well, to some level of success in terms of we did like a pre-regional. For us, obviously, it's only 2 teams that go through to the World Championship, so double elim 4 teams is pretty good as a grand final format. So we did kind of a regional to get into the grand final rather than anything else. I mean, not the grand final, the top 4 playoffs, whatever it is. And that worked well. Everyone loved it, and it's at least good to see Sonics integrate it eventually. I'm surprised that Sam didn't integrate it, because their playoffs, their regional championship, is a 6-team double elimination.
Where no one starts in the lower bracket, everyone's in the uppers. So
Like, really?
yeah. So it's like, wow, this doesn't really matter. If you came 6th, you just in the upper bracket, doesn't really matter. First thing, like the first seed, if you win your like game, but even then you just lose that, and you're in.
You
like,
just have a
lowest.
bye for 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's it. So
Which is often a negative thing, right? Because usually then the lower teams get the warm-up match into you. And in specifically in South America, the results have been very top 4 focused, where the top 4 were very much clear ahead of the bottom 4. So like those 2 top 4 teams that came 3rd and 4th are going to get like that bottom 4 warm-up before they have to face their big rivals, and maybe that's going to favor them.
Yeah, I think that's just like, I don't know why it's born that top 6, like just kind of devalues league play, like that top 6 like format. It just means you can finish 6th and just be like, oh yeah, still just have like as good a shot as anyone else.
It's actually even potentially, you know, harsher than the single elimination format that Sonics was running previously, or that Sonics and Twitch ran for many seasons, in terms of, you know, if you come 6 in league play in NA and EU, and it was the single elimination, you'd end up in this point where at least like that's going to be crap, because you're going to have to play number 3. The 3rd place team was often 3rd because of a tiebreaker as well. That meant that they were really good, and you'd probably lose that. The only time that's ever not happened, I think, was Denial. I think Denial was 6th seed and beat out G2 as the number 3 seed. But, like, that's super unlikely. But with this one, 6th seed just literally, I don't think matters whatsoever. You maybe, you know, you have 3rd seed in round 1, but then, like, you have all that chance to come back even if you lose to 3rd seed then. And realistically, you know, 5th and 6th, if they were in the lower bracket, if 3, 4, 5, and 6 are in the lower bracket, that would be interesting. And I think it's only a shame because the South Americans have done really well with their qualifier format. They ran something similar to what we did in Season 6, where it was like a double elim, get into some group stages. The group stages can qualify you into league play, and if you don't, you have a last chance play-in to be able to get there as well. And that was really robust, really fair for the players. You're going to expect the best team to go through. But as Stacks always says, it's not about finding the best team, innit, Fruity?
Apparently, it's about entertainment.
And that's true to some extent, right? You need to
Yeah.
have entertainment.
Yeah.
But you still need
needs to be a balance.
I think there's entertainment in having the best teams as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a shame. NA and EU playoffs. I want to get your predictions. So I'm gonna bring up. I don't have it on stream, unfortunately. I'm gonna bring up the European playoffs and get your predictions. So who have each of you got in the match between? Okay, so let me go back a step. Vitality came first and got auto qualified. Barcelona came second and they got auto qualified. It was a great match too, because it was a match between PSG and Barcelona where the winner would have got auto qualified for Worlds, and PSG choked really hard. So they ended up being in third spot, and they're going to be, I don't know if they're the first match on stream, but PSG versus Triple Trouble. Who do each of you have?
I'll let you start.
I mean, that's PSG.
PSG.
Huh.
Do you have a
Well,
score?
I
Do you
got-
think it's going to be comfortable,
I have no idea, mate. Against Triple Trouble, you don't know which team you're getting. When we played them in League Play, I was very surprised that they changed playstyle mid series.
or yeah?
One point you know what they're doing, the next one you're expecting what they're doing, and they're doing that, and then another point they're literally like doing something completely different. So it's quite weird to play against them. But I think we're gonna best of sevens favor us. I think we are more comfortable with best of sevens, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's very hard to get reverse swept in the best of 7. Torsos, who are you predicting?
Yeah, I think PSG as well. Not just because Fruity's here, but because I don't know. I haven't rated Triple Trouble since I've seen them in RLCS or them play like in the rival series. I don't know. They just like seem pretty average. I didn't think. I'm very surprised they got 4C. I don't know if I'm wrong, and I'm just like, why is it Dig up there? But I think PSG, if they play well, it'll be like 4-1, 4-2, maybe 4-0 if they're just smashing them. I don't think Triple Trouble will win.
Yeah, I kind of am in the same point. Like, and the way you describe it, Triple Trouble are average, are the best. They haven't felt bad. Like, for an RLCS team coming through, I feel like they've played really good. They've played fairly solidly as a team, but it's not the kind of performance that you'd normally expect in Europe to be able to get you third or fourth. But we've seen some pretty terrible performances from Dignitas, TSM, some other teams in the competition as well that we don't need to name and shame. But those guys, you know, I think they've underperformed. So that as well, it leads me to a PSG. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable because they're really used to this kind of pressure at this point. Farah seems to be having a great season as well, which has been fantastic to see. Fruity, obviously I rate him incredibly highly as an individual player. He made some mistakes in one series that I ribbed him about, but the rest of the season was overall pretty strong. And Chorset's just insane. Very good player. He can certainly be not just the best player on PSG on a given day, but he can be the best player in the world on his good day. So obviously there's like that question of like, how will they play? Will Farah be nervous? Will Fruity be playing at his best? Will Chorset just completely pop off? But I think because you have so many of those questions, and if 2 out of 3 of those, or even 1 out of 3 of those are like, yeah, they'll be fine, a thumbs up that they'll win, you have to give it to them. Like, I'm going to give it to them 4-1, maybe 4-2 at worst, you know, that kind of fairly comfortable victory, but not a complete stomp.
Like, as well as PSG, I think having the like firepower and like skill just in general, I think the experience is just there. PSG obviously been at Worlds multiple times before, been in like this like elimination match. Like, this isn't even the elimination match. Like last season they had to qualify against Vitality and all that. Like, where if you lose, it's just not at Worlds.
Yeah.
Format is scary too.
Yeah, it's like Triple Trouble's never been in like And like this is to make RLCS. I don't think they'll perform
What
too
they actually were, I think.
well.
What they if they won against Barca and then
Oh,
we lost
true.
against Barca, or if they won against Barca and we lost against Barca, they would have been top 2.
Yeah,
Uh,
but they lost.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
but
more like
also,
in a playoff situation, but yeah, you're right.
mm,
They
and
do have the
especially with the
advantage
playoff.
of playoffs in the promotion relegation.
But also the fact you have 2 lives at this, you can literally go into the first match, be like, all right, we're just gonna go play what the fuck we want. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shaming losing, and then you have another shutdown later on the day where you played that one first series on the stream and you're warmed up. Yeah.
There is that, but losing also puts you against the winner of TSM and Dignitas, and usually the winner of that match is probably going to be playing pretty well as well. So I wouldn't want to lose that match by any means, but there's certainly, I guess, less pressure on a team, you know, to have that second chance under their belt for sure. The next match, Dignitas versus TSM. You'd expect this to be them coming 5th and 6th, the winners of E-League and the multi-time world champions. Before I go into this as well, the Max420 said in chat, pretty sure Fruity's the best keyboard and mouse player in Rocket League. Torsos, do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I'm an OC.
When you say yourself, Tosa?
I'm an OC. I can't be the best.
Yeah. What about
do you mean?
Yukio?
I think
Statistically speaking, he came 6th seed and Fruity came 3rd seed, so therefore Fruity is.
Well done, Fruity.
I think Yuki
By
is one of
default.
Yuki has probably some of the best mechanics, and then I think Tosos is right next to him.
Yes.
And then third, no, Sen is up there too. Like Sen is insane with mechanics. Like he's a freestyler, you know. But I think Yukios is more finessed into like being competitive freestyle kind of thing, you know, like double touches, the backboard reads, etc., flip resets, which I think is what you need when you're taking from the freestyle aspect. So,
Yeah.
so I had to judge who's the best KBM player because we have to look at results.
It's kind of hard to just judge like who's like even like the best Rocket League player. It's like a hard.
I think there's a nice scale here too, because Fruity to me does the basics incredibly quickly. Like he's fast, he gets around the pitch, he gets up to the ball, he can read the play really well, pre-jumping and whatnot, getting to the ball first, and that's his big strength. Yukio has a lot of style points, he's fast as well, but, you know, he can, you know, get a goal out of anywhere. And I think Torsos fits a nice middle ground between the two of you, between like going for these crazy plays and just going for straight speed. So I think that might be a scale you can really think of. It's really hard to say, as you said, you know, who's the better player.
Yeah.
It's just in this case, they're kind of different players. And, you know, it's also like there's so many factors that go into it, because you could say who's the better player on LAN, and then you might be able to get a different answer to who's the better player online even. So, the winner of that, who have you got winning Dignitas solo mid?
I think Dignitas 4-2, if not more. I'm not convinced on TSM yet. They had a good start, but they've just been lackluster since then, really. They need to work hard with their coach, Jake, to see what they can change, because it obviously isn't working, and I don't think they've ever won against Dignitas. So it's probably Dignitas.
Yeah, I'd put Dignitas as well. Going up, even recent results, Dig beat TSM like last week, 3-1, pretty convincingly. And I think Jake's just ruined the entire team. Don't know what he's done. Dignitas all the way. It'd be so weird to see a LAN without Dig. Surely they win.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know what Jake's done. He's ruined their defense for one. Like seeing them like all committing really hard in defense, very aggressively, and bumping each other in net. I've seen so many of them bump each other in front of net. so many times.
It's because backposts are overrated, Yummy, so you don't really need to go there.
It's hard to say. You can't actually blame Jake. We're just making a joke at his expense, but they haven't looked good at defense. Remco hasn't been getting the best touches from what I've seen as well. A lot of aerials that end up going back behind him, which was the Jake specialty. So maybe he did teach them that one, but. Yeah, they haven't convinced me. Dignitas obviously a slow start, but they're proven under pressure. They won DreamHack Leipzig. They know how to play when the nerves are there. So, well, I guess TSM is the same boat, but you have to give it to Dignitas. I think it might be a closer affair. I'll give it a 4-3.
I think if Remco and Ignite step up a bit, they've both been a bit quiet. I think especially Remco's just not had really done anything in all the games I've watched. He's just sort of there doing hits. So I think if he actually starts making some impact on the ball, then it'll be a lot closer than I think it'll be. But I think it'll be pretty comfortable for Dig when the pressure's actually on.
Yeah, and then that means Dignitas versus Triple Trouble for everyone as well. Who have we got, Fruity?
This is an interesting one because both teams are coming in on a match played, so they're warmed up. Last time they played, I think Triple Trouble, did they 3-0 them?
Yeah, they definitely beat them very handily.
Yeah. So the thread about Triple Trouble is that the skill, the potential is huge. They're so scary to play against because you don't know which team you're getting. Are you getting the Triple Trouble at DreamHack, where they were literally beating everyone, and then one game they lost to Dignitas, and then suddenly they lose to a random bubble team?
It was 3-2.
So,
it was 3-2 as well.
3-2. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So pretty close. But I still think Triple Trouble can beat them. So I think it's gonna be a game 7. I honestly can't predict who's gonna win, but I'll probably give the edge to Dignitas just because of the experience. So game 7 Dignitas is my bet.
Yeah, I think it'll be not game 7 actually. I think Dignitas coming off a win and Triple Trouble coming off a loss is two different types of warm-ups. I think Triple Trouble will be a bit more the warm-up won't really be maybe not even a positive for them. And I think that there's a lot more pressure in this game than in the one with PSG if they make it, if they lose. So I think Dig will win 4-1 or 4-2. I don't see any 4-0s happening. I think Dig just have the quality if players play well, then Triple Trouble do.
I'm the same. I think probably a 4-2 to Dignitas. I think Triple Trouble might come really strong out of the gates, but Dignitas should win out in the end. I also think that if PSG is there, that it's likely that PSG are going to keep it much closer than Triple Trouble and might even take the win over Dignitas. It kind of depends as well, because obviously if PSG lose the first one, it means they're not having a fantastic day. So, I mean, I guess that's the same with anyone. If Triple Trouble lose the first one, they might not be having a fantastic day. Hopefully you get a break between losing the first one, the order that we went in. So that, for everyone, has put Barca, PSG, Vitality, and Dignitas in the finals. So who wins the entire regionals?
I think it kind of has to be Vitality, right?
Yeah, it has to, but I think it's not that it's gonna... I think it depends on the day who's gonna show up, because you have to remember, for Dignitas to win regionals, they have to play, 4 best of 7s?
Yeah.
That's a lot of games on stream, and in a short amount of time as well. So fatigue and tiredness could turn in that to a factor. But I think it's probably going to be Barca Vitality in the final.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a really close series. I don't think it's going to be anything near what happened in league play, because I don't think Barca is ever going to have a game like that again. I just don't see it, and Probably edge it to Vitality. They've been looking strong. They've been the most consistent team in Europe, which is not a lot of teams we can say about. So yeah, probably 4-2.
Yeah. I actually think
Yeah.
Barca might be able to take it, but the way Vitality have just consistently beaten everyone, you can't put it against them for sure.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. Just agree. They just look really dominant, except for like that one loss. But I think they like already made top 2, so they maybe weren't like focusing as much. But I think they'll definitely be like coming out all guns blazing in these playoffs.
Yeah. Let's move on to North America then. We've got the first match, which is going to be Cloud9 versus Space Station Gaming.
Interesting.
Which is, yeah, it's been good. I picked Space Station Gaming as the team that I was cheering on from the start of the season, so I was happy they made it here, but still a little surprised. AXB I really rate, but in terms of this matchup, it's been super weird because Cloud9, well, their first 2 weeks were complete
They
garbage.
look great.
They were so bad, and yet they were taking the wins, right? Like, they were playing badly, and they managed to take those Ws.
I think
pretty
they're
handily.
But that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. No, but
I
I think...
they were quite fortunate with their calendar to have Splice and Ghost in the first 2 weeks. Because I feel like if they were playing like NRG G2, well, I guess they still lost them, but they would have been like even more convincing losses, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's really like affected them in the end, but they started off weak and got strong, which is like obviously a big boon. I think realistically they got away with some of those early matches, but as you said, it doesn't matter, but maybe for a different reason than you think. For me, the reason it doesn't matter is they were able to take the wins despite playing badly, and I think that's always a sign of a good team, that if you can have bad matches and still get the wins, you can still play well enough to take them away, then that's a good sign, and you can usually just chalk that off to having a bad week and knowing that you have things to work on. I'm assuming you have opinions on that, Fruity?
Yeah, I think that all that matters in RLCS is that you get a win. I don't care how you play. Like, I don't care how you look, because there's a week between some games, and a week is a long time in Rocket League, so you never know who's going to show up on the day. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised Space Station isn't high up. I thought they were going to be 5-2. I think they're actually more favorite for top 2 than C9 at some point, because the potential in Space Station is huge. Like, I think they're one of the teams that can actually like make a push for making a top 4 NA. They're not there yet. I would give them another season maybe. Next season is going to be very telling, and I think they're going to be at this World Championship, and they're really good offline players too. So
Wait, who do you have above Space Station Gaming in NA right now?
Well, probably NRG and G2. I think I have
No, but
them
you
over.
said top 4. Or do you mean top 2?
No, top 4. Like, instead of the top 3. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, the big 4.
with C9, G2. Yeah, the big 4.
Yeah.
I think they're the only team that has that potential in NA. So let's see if they can fulfill that potential.
Yeah, they did take a loss to Ghost Gaming, which was not amazing. But how do you have the matchup between Cloud9 and Space Station going?
I think that I'm actually gonna go with Space Station, and I think it could be either very close or very comfortable, because C9 I think they start in history, they start very cold in regional playoffs or just non-RLCS land. But even in RLCS land, they like lose like lower bracket really early in the tournament, and then like make a lower bracket run. So I think Space Station could take this like maybe even comfortably. I think especially with like they're not in that elimination game, so there's not as many nerves, and with C9 not perform, I don't think they'll be performing as highly as like they could. So I think it could be like a 4-1 maybe to Space Station.
Yeah. What about you, Fruity?
I agree. Space Station over C9.
See, I think in terms of online matches, that's like how it 100% should go. But it's also a playoffs match, which scares me. In terms of like, I know Cloud9 just solidly play under pressure every single time. So I'm going to go the other way just to be a little bit different. I'm going to give it a 4-3 to Cloud9. They'll start off poorly, they'll bring it back, and they'll play well under pressure. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
Lenny says the fourth of the big four finished bottom two. EG were not in the big four. There's only a big three. He's saying that it'll become the big four instead of being the big three. And Turbo wants your number, Fruity.
Alright. DM it later.
Down in the
Next year.
lower bracket, we got Ghost Gaming up against Rogue, which just feels like a complete crapshoot to me.
Yeah.
Like, the consistency levels of these teams, the opposite of what you'd like, I guess. But for me, I think Ghost Gaming takes the win on this every time. The last time they played in League Play, I think it was a 3-0 to Ghost Gaming. So I'm going to give it to them like a 4-1 here.
I think it'll be a lot better than that. Whenever I've like seen Rogue play, I actually like haven't been like
Disgusting.
that disgusted. I haven't been
Jorsos
that.
gets disgusted watching any Rocket League.
Yeah,
so.
but I haven't been that. It wasn't that bad. But I think Ghosts have definitely improved a lot over the season though. And I actually like really don't know who to go with on this, but I think Ghosts will make it like 4-3. I think it'll be very close. Like either team could win, but I don't think either team will make well.
Oh, harsh. Fruity?
This is an interesting one. I think it's just who's gonna be most consistent, like who's gonna be most solid on the day.
Yeah.
And that's literally like you flip a coin and then you find, oh, it's Ghost, oh, it's Rogue.
Yeah.
Like you literally, I had no idea to predict this one. Like, I see more potential in Rogue than Ghost. Honestly, I think Rogue has more team potential. They have probably like a 4-3 or 4-2 to Rogue.
Yeah, that sounds true. I think they have shown they like can be a good team in League Play. They just couldn't do it consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, they took NRG to Game 5, you know.
Yeah.
They beat Space
and I think that's the only team that did that. So that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, I guess it's just if they can like do that when like they're in a playoff game, like with the pressure and all that.
They took G2 to Game 5 as well.
Yeah, it's only ramped up as well for the last 2 weeks, so definitely think Rogue have every chance of making it. As I said, it's like a crapshoot for sure. That means we've got, well, for you guys, Cloud9 versus either Ghost Gaming or Rogue. So Fruity, will start with you with Cloud9 against Rogue.
I think Cloud9 is just gonna smack whoever they meet down there if they actually get there. So probably like a 4-1 or 4-0 for C9. I'll be surprised if they don't bounce back from a loss. I think what C9 has is that they don't really, they don't overthink the situation until they sit literally in the grand final of the World Championship, and then they start to think and realize they're actually winning this. Other than that, I just don't think they're gonna let the nerves get to them. They're just gonna smack them.
Yeah, I agree with that. The players on C9 are way too good, and like they've played way too long to like mess up. They like always play like consistent under pressure and well, so I don't think there's any way they can lose to either Ghost or Rogue. If they lose to Space Station.
Well, I have Space Station down there in that 4-3 loss. I think that's maybe a different question, obviously, because they're a much fresher team. They would crush Ghost Gaming, who I've got. So I think I've still got Space Station Gaming going up into the final. But Rogue, they, as I said, like picked it up for the final week. They took down
Space Station.
I didn't get to watch that match, so I didn't see how it panned out. But Rogue certainly beat Space Station, so they could definitely do it again easily. So I'm still got Space Station Gaming in my bracket, but maybe if it's Rogue going through, it could be the complete opposite way, and Rogue take down Space Station Gaming.
I think
It's
if
funny.
Space Station do lose that first best of 7, there's like a lot more possibilities for like who makes it.
Yeah, because Space Station lost to both Ghost and Rogue in League play,
Yeah. I think Space
and they
Station,
won against C9.
Yeah.
If Space Station lose that first game, I think all 3 of those teams could make it.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, and they only 3-2'd Splice on the last day as well. I haven't watched any of these matches.
I think Sethy had internet problems. Like there was some touches he should have hit, and he literally missed the ball for an open net, and then they got scored on. So
Yeah,
he was quite frustrated with his ISP.
yeah, iBreezy backs up that as well. So
Yeah.
potentially they do beat Rogue, but yeah, I didn't get to see those matches. I'll see them eventually. NRG, can anyone take them down in the top 4? It
Nope.
feels
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
they might not just take the regionals, but they might take world championships this season.
I think for sure they're the favorites to go all the way this season.
Sure. I don't think anyone's beating them in this regional playoffs. I think they could, very well just win worlds as well.
I think they're a team that just keeps getting better. Like they take the losses they had and the experiences, and then they just keep getting better and learn more about themselves as a team. And Chrome, I think Chrome is very underrated. I think he's smart about what he's helping them out with, and they seem so comfortable with that relationship that it's only a massive boost for them. That's the kind of thing an ex-player can bring to a coach role. Is that when you come from a player that you previously respected and played against, that kind of respect and it goes both ways, kind of thing, you know. And it's something else you wouldn't have with a coach that doesn't play or haven't played in RLCS. And that's especially for Rocket League, because it's so new with the coaching system. Is something that nobody really talks about, how much having an ex-player be the coach and manager and help a team out. The only teams that really have it is TSM and who else?
NRG, obviously.
NRG. Yeah. I don't think anyone else has it. Do they?
No ex-RLCS players for sure.
No.
Snasky, Dig.
Snasky, with Dignitas. I mean, again, it's about that comfort level with your coach. So, obviously, Dignitas didn't have the best season. Well, league play. Let's say it that way. I don't want to say season yet. And we don't know the full potential of Snasky yet. I think it's too early to tell. I don't think it's his fault at all what happened with Dignitas. Can't blame him. But they managed to turn it around when it mattered the most, like last season we had. Then the regionals, that's all that matters, you know what I mean? Like, anything can happen from there, so the season is still long, so still potential.
When are PSG picking up a coach?
We have Farah, dude. Farah is so smart in this game, dude. Like, unbelievable. We don't need a coach.
Well, that's nice to hear as well, because I always talk to him about Rocket League too. So I think people underappreciate Farah. It's good to see Farah have a good season as well, with some great matches where he ended up, scoring a ton of goals too, because it finally stopped people from going, "Oh, Farah's so bad," blaming him for any PSG losses that ever happened, and I guess being unfair. But he's looked great this season. He's a smart player as well, and maybe he'll be at the top. But that's the end of the show. NAEU playoffs, that is over. Is a chance for you guys to get in some questions if you're on Twitch chat. I don't know if I'm going to put this on YouTube, but if I do, see ya later. Maybe do this again sometime.